Check out the starting five for Clemson. They would love to get this into a slower tempoed game. Demira Hines is one to keep an eye on. Number 25, got to have another big night.
Hines has to stay out of foul trouble. She has to rebound out of her area, and she's got to help them control the tempo doing those things.
Here's Rachel Rose. Up top, and now Hines with it.
Raven Johnson taking the toughest assignment on the perimeter, but South Carolina switching 1 through 5 early.
Of course, on the defensive end, that has always been Carolina's calling card under Dawn Staley. And here's a look at her starting five. 3 guards, Latson, Johnson, and Johnson, averaging 46 points, 15 rebounds, and 16 assists per game collectively.
Right away, Tania Latson looking to attack quickly. So one of the things that I have noticed about South Carolina in watching film early is the cadence and rhythm and the pace that Dawn Staley is asking her team to play with. Right there, Joyce Edwards gets the rebound, and they are pushing up the floor without the outlet. It's going to help them get into their actions quicker.
Here's a look at Dawn, now in her 18th season. 3-time national champs. They have won the Southeastern Conference 4 years running, and somebody missed a box out. And Medina Okoth gets the easy stick back.
Look, it's early, it's November, you're going to make mistakes, but you cannot make back-to-back mistakes if you're Clemson against the level of talent.
Okoth with a strip. Here comes Raven the other way, looking for a shooter, and it's Tessa Johnson in the trail. And Hines has the rebound.
All 5 have to go to the defensive glass for Clemson. And they've got to be really good in their transition defense because South Carolina can tilt the floor quickly the other way.
Off the bounce, Moore attacks the rim. Offensive rebound for Hines. And it's a held ball. It will stay at this end. It's calls. In fact, 4 2-possession losses in ACC play last year. Had they won those, that's a 500 team.
South Carolina was picked to win the leagues. Clemson's picked in the middle of the ACC. They'll be one of the most improved teams in that league, along with Virginia and Miami.
Pull up for 3, no good from Taylor Johnson Matthews. And now Johnson will head the other way. Coming in off the bench the last couple of seasons to put up some big numbers from time to time. Now in the starting lineup. Here's Raven, and she'll knock down the J.
So they'll start Clemson going under ball screen action with Raven Johnson. They want to force her to make some jumpers. She's much more dangerous when she turns the corner and gets 2 feet in the paint.
Now in her 5th season for the Gamecocks, all she knows is winning. A couple of championships nationally, 4 of them in the SEC.
Look at Joyce Edwards with her length guarding on the perimeter. There she goes, gets a block.
So they've got a steal and a block early on, and now the run out for Edwards crosses over to the right side and lays it in, and it's a 7-0 start.
Sean Poppy told us today that he would be quick to call a timeout if he felt things slipping away early. They just got to keep executing. The quality of the catch is so tough because South Carolina's defense pushes you out of your scoring range.
Clemson to inbound. Usne Augustinata is now on the floor for Clemson. Some quick substitutions. She gives him a little more size. Boy, look at the defense forcing her way out top. Another blocked shot on a deep 3 with the shot clock winding down.
You're not going to be able to score over the top of South Carolina. You're going to have to get your hips and shoulders by them off the bounce. Set up your 3-point shooting that way, Beth, instead of trying to set it up off the perimeter. You got to get in the paint and then spray.
That was a Clemson team that set a new school record for 3-pointers last year. As Joyce Edwards goes to the left hand in the lane, it's 9-0 to start.
Really good footwork inside with the counter by Edwards. She looks pretty active here tonight.
Moore. And Edwards with the rejection. South Carolina with numbers. Raven Johnson to the rim, short. they'll get another possession. A coat high off the backboard, and a foul on the rebound will go against Mia Moore.
Joyce Edwards, active hands, really looking to steal off these switches. Here she goes inside. She steps back and she gets away, maybe with a little bit of a trouble, but it's a heck of a move inside. And then the block on this end where she helps in that low eye position to protect the rim.
Latson off the mark. Augustaneda, and now Moore. Inside the Hines, they'll kick it back out to the perimeter. Johnson Matthews short on the shot.
But that's the way I think Clemson needs to set up their threes. They had a much better look.
Difficult task ahead against this South Carolina D. And if they get the offense cranked up, I mean, they're averaging over 100 points a game early on, shooting better than 62% through their first couple of games.
I think they're going to be a high percentage, high possession offensive team this year. You know, Dawn Staley's teams in the past have played a little slower, but we asked her about it today, and she said, hey, we got personnel that can fly. We got to go.
They've had so many good post players that they've run their offense through in years past, and they've got some this year, but the guards outstanding with the push of the tempo. Augustaneda, shot clock's winding down again. Moore with an open look, and they finally are able to break the ice.
And Clemson shot and made a school record number of threes last year, and because of their three-point shooting ability, if they can make a couple of shots, get a couple stops, they can get right back in it.
Yeah, they made 228 of them. Here's Latson. Edwards couldn't hang on to it.
A bigger lineup on the floor for Sean Poppy right now with two bigs.
Moore. Well, he called for them to spread the floor, and they did that, and Moore had a lane for the lay-in.
She has incredible quickness off the bounce, does Mia Moore.
Johnson doubled, and a foul. Hot start for South Carolina.
Here, she's really worked on her perimeter game.
Latson open on the inbound for three.
25.2 points a game last year as the NCAA's leading scorer was wide open on that one.
4 for her early on. Transfer out of FSU. And again, they are just cranking up the pressure defensively. Clemson just 2 of 10 to open the game.
Little twist action right there, and it lets Augustaneda get wide open for mid-range. See, Beth, I think when you go against South Carolina and you're Clemson and Sean Poppy, and we saw these things today, you have to have these concepts already in your offense. You can't just practice them the day before, and he's built an offensive system that allows these kind of pressure relievers, dribble entries, high post entries, shot fake, ball fake, and then some backdoor cuts, and we have not seen any backdoor yet. But South Carolina, as they ramp up their pressure up the line, we'll see if Clemson can get a V-cut backdoor.
And the foul was on Hannah Cohn, her first. She transferred in from Chattanooga with Poppy. They got a couple of players that followed Shaw to Clemson. Edwards.
Good help by Hines.
Latson off the bounce. Looking for a drop-off. Good defense by Clemson. They get the takeaway. Hadley Perriman.
See if they can get Cohn going. She's one of their prolific three-point shooters.
Number 5 in orange, bottom of your screen. There's the backdoor cut.
The other thing against South Carolina, you got to take the first open shot.
Because there may not be another one. There may not be a second. And now a 3-second violation.
You know, Clemson's got to settle in, move the ball, reverse it, play inside the gap, and then kick. But you cannot over-penetrate. They're only blocking 8.5 shots a game, South Carolina. They typically have had great rim protection.
Yes, they have. Asia Wilson, Aaliyah Boston come to mind. Edwards, boy, she is playing with some spring in her step. Got a held ball as Mariam Dowda got in there to grab it, and it'll stay at this end. Raven Johnson will check back in for Dawn Staley. 7 trips to the Final Four for the Naismith Hall of Famer, an Olympic gold medalist as both a player and a coach. Just lethal here at home, where she's won 87% of her games.
Dawn Staley is the only person that's won the Naismith as a player and as a coach.
Look out, McKeer, the freshman from Thunder Bay, Ontario, was a top 5 recruit for ESPN Hoop Girls. Under 2 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Hines trying to pin the youngster down inside and goes to the left hand to use the board.
The transfer from Wake Forest is really excited as a graduate student getting a chance to finish her career at Clemson. She can give them a real significant presence in the post.
Edwards, patience, and a chance at a three-point play.
Joyce Edwards makes this move so quickly, it's hard to bring help. Look how quickly she's into her counter over that left shoulder. Pyramid, I thought, did a good job defensively, playing straight up, making her make a play.
That's her first foul, and the three-point play for Edwards. And a terrific first quarter for Joyce. She's got 9. And a well-deserved break to the bench.
You cannot disrupt the balance, rhythm, speed, or quickness of an offensive player, and that's what the official deemed Raven Johnson did. But you know what, if I'm Dawn Staley, I don't mind Raven picking up one of those early in the game. Go ahead and get up in their grill, but don't do it again.
Rose is the transfer from Wofford up top. Augustineta, that's another block shot on the perimeter. They've got 3 of those on 3 attempts. And another block inside. Raven Johnson stepping through and can't finish.
What a rebound by Hines. She is an athlete.
5 block shots, 4 of them now on 3 attempts at this end of the floor for Carolina.
Got a 2-for-1 opportunity if you're Clemson.
Doesn't look like they're going to get it off. Rose off the bounce. Goes to the left side.
Nice job cutting back door off the bounce. Getting to the rim. Keeping the weak side busy. Pull those bigs away from the bucket.
Dowda will try from deep. And Clemson will get a second look at it as Sean Poppy says, hold it for 1.
They're going to go a little step-up screen here, I think, with Hines. Yep, there it is.
Well, she's got a mismatch inside if they can find her. And the 3-ball for Cone to beat the Bucks. Showing his support as well with his t-shirt today underneath his jacket. 20-12, South Carolina. Joyce Edwards leading the way with 9 points. They shot 50% and blocked 5 shots. Clemson, after starting out the game missing 8 in a row, have hit 5 of their last 8, including a 3 at the buzzer to end that first quarter. Beck Mullins alongside Debbie Antonelli. Carolina winners of 14 in a row in this rivalry. Latson can't roll that in, but a weak side rebound. This is going to be a strong rebounding crew for South Carolina again this season. I mean, they can go. They got 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and 6'6" on their roster.
And they're all long. And they're strong. And they're committed to getting to the offensive boards.
And now that's the second foul on Demara Hines. That's big trouble for Clemson.
Yeah, I think she's the one player that cannot get in foul trouble for them in this matchup.
They got a serious size issue now in the lane. Latson will attack and score.
So strong. Hips and shoulders by her defender. And when she gets in the paint, you're not going to knock her off her line.
3-ball from Cone won't go.
They're getting some good looks right now. They got to knock them down. If you're going to upset this team,
Yeah.
you got to make some shots.
McKeer. No pass possession that time for Carolina. A lot of dribbling here for Rose, looking for a teammate.
And without Hines, they like to make that high post entry to Hines.
Spin in the lane, tough shot, and it goes for Johnson Matthews.
Both teams really battling.
And I think they're going to get a coat for the offensive foul there.
Displacement. Perryman was just standing there waiting for her. Watch Perryman on the nail. Boom. That's a foul.
Edwards almost got a steal, and there's a foul inside on McKeer. As Chloe Kitts looks on, out for the season with the torn ACL. Ashlyn Watkins taking a year off from basketball. So Raven Johnson, the only returning starter this year in their lineup after a run to the Final Four in the national championship game a year ago.
Kitts 1 month away from surgery and doing well in her rehab. We wish her well.
So Johnson Matthews to the line. This is a big week for Clemson basketball, Debbie, because they are on national television again on Sunday afternoon, part of our doubleheader. First, it's TCU NC State at 1 o'clock on ESPN, then Louisville Clemson at 3 o'clock on ESPN2. For folks, a lot of folks, their first national look at Olivia Miles in a TCU jersey. And how does State respond to a tough loss to USC?
Yeah. NC State 135-15 since 2015 in Reynolds Coliseum.
That should be a dandy.
And this is a great game to prepare yourself for conference play if you're Clemson, because Louisville is going to bring the same kind of defensive pressure that South Carolina brings.
Yeah, that's an early ACC tilt for those two.
It is really early.
With the expanding, conferences, the start of the conference season creeping up earlier and earlier. That's the second foul now on Raven Thompson. So 2 starters with 2 fouls, and Edwards is back at the stripe.
You got a pinch on the free throw line. O'Coat right there. See Perryman step up the lane. You got to make sure that you pinch right there with Moore and Perryman. You can't let her get an X out on the free throw line, which means go to the other side.
Edwards now to double digits. Rose.
Good boomerang pass. Rose has got to start looking for some shots. She's an excellent three-point shooter.
Now they are shooting just 25% right now in the ball game, and yet they're only a touchdown behind after trailing by as many as 13 in the early going.
South Carolina all spread out, going 4 out, 1 in.
A coat to the left side, off glass.
I'll tell you what, I watched her today. She's big, with big hands, and she can run.
That's
and
smooth.
She's smooth as
That's
well.
6'6".
She's got soft hands.
And able to jump out and defend on the perimeter.
She's going to make some threes this year.
Edwards. Ooh. May have been a double dribble there. She'll get the rebound and the stick back off the McKeer miss. Timeout, Clemson. Big time transfer, Neepkins at UCLA, back-to-back 20-point games.
I bet Corey Close tells Kelsey and Megan that she told her team on any night it could be anybody's game.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of weapons at UCLA. They've gotten better through the portal. and their Final Four experience ought to help them in the NCAA tournament this year.
Still no Sienna Betts, though, their star recruit.
Yeah.
Hopefully she'll be able to get out on the floor soon. South Carolina without Maddie McDaniel tonight, by the way, so they have just 9 available. She's missing her 2nd game in a row with an injury. Their backup point guard. Good ball movement for Clemson, and they are lurking, Debbie.
Listen, that possession is Clemson basketball under Sean Poppy. They make one more. It's like they don't settle for one. They draw, and they make the defense be a pass to a pass and a half late.
Approaching the midway point of this 2nd quarter. Forcing a tough shot there. More with the push and the turnover.
This is the kind of ball move I'm talking about. Look how they make the closeout, then they get another closeout. And when you move the ball like that, because Latson's all the way sucked into the rim, you get a wide open triple. That's one of your bigs. That's spot running in transition and being ready on the catch.
That's one of the first things he talked to us today about is their ball pressure in the half court is so good, you have to keep it moving. Can't be stagnant, and they force another turnover.
Sometimes when someone from South Carolina turns the ball over, I immediately look at Coach Staley, but I don't believe Raven Johnson does. After that
Don't make eye contact.
No, don't look over there.
Clemson playing without 2 starters with some foul trouble here in the first half. Augustaneda over the shorter defender, and those are the ones that you got to knock down. They're shooting still sub 35% from the floor. Latson picked up the dribble.
See, that would have been a shot last year. She hesitated a little bit. I don't think Coach Staley wants her to hesitate.
And South Carolina has cooled just 3 of 8 this quarter.
Well, Clemson has gotten 3 stops in a row, 2 turnovers and a defensive rebound.
But now you got to convert them into points at this end. Shot clock winding down on Russ. Into a Del Tack, got to step away. They're going to have to jack. Looking for a 3, off the window, won't go. Unable to take advantage of the 3 possessions that Carolina couldn't score. Latson off the bounce. Another miss inside.
I'll tell you what, Mia Moore really hustled under that ball screen to try to get in front of Latson.
Got a shooter in the corner. And that time, Augustaneda will knock it down. 6-0 run for the Tigers to get back in it.
South Carolina needs to pound it in the paint right here.
See if they get a touch for Edwards. Johnson, mid-range goes, but in the paint.
It's points in the paint right here. They're settling for jumpers, wrong people taking shots. You can't just rely on your offensive rebounding.
Looking for back-to-back.
I like that set, though. Not quite America's play, but close to it.
Edwards, again, 1 pass and a shot up, and Dawn Staley just looks away and shakes her head. Arms crossed.
So patient over there, Coach Staley.
Rose for 3, around and out.
That's a wide open look.
They are now 4 of 17 downtown, baby.
And this is to your point early, Beth. You know, down 4 starters from last year, even though they played for the national championship game. But this is where Raven Johnson's got to be the leader. Or Tenai Latson, who's capable. Like, you got to understand what you need, look at personnel, and get points in the paint.
Moore tried to backdoor. They didn't get it to her. Thompson will step away. Turned back outside by Edwards. For the preseason favorites in the Southeastern Conference to try and win a 5th straight regular season title. Johnson to Edwards. Joyce into the lane. 13-footer short. She'll rebound her own miss and stick it back up and in. She's got 14 in the first half.
So quick off her feet. That second jump.
Cone. They have 18 three-ball attempts and 9 two-point attempts. Sean Poppy did not like that selection.
But you know what? That's Clemson's game. And a good timeout by Dawn Staley. Back-to-back buckets.
That ends up being, what, a 5-point swing? And now it's an 8-0 South Carolina run.
You gotta come way out with a long closeout on Cone. She'll fire.
Swing it around to Thompson. Ends up with Cone. Another offensive foul displacement. Let's see, this time it's Adele Tack, her first.
Well, Perriman had position, and she had already established. I wouldn't want to bring the ball up against Raven Johnson.
Be a challenge.
Rachel Rose has done a good job now turning it over.
Now they go with 10 on the game clock. Rose into the lane, all the way to the rim, gets the win. With 3 seconds to go in the half, so at the struggling to knock down their shots, just 29% shooting. They're 4 of 19 from downtown. And if you're going to threaten #2 South Carolina on their home court, they're going to have to do better than that in this second half, and Edwards will open up, staying hot.
See, I think as Joyce Edwards continues to mature in Dawn Staley's system, you're going to see plays like that. Step in and to your range and knock down a shot. Can't get sped up. Take what the defense gives you.
Dawn was talking to us today about how they've really opened up the floor for her this year, Debbie.
And that's an example of it right there. And see, right there, that's what I'm talking about. No fouls. Be aggressive. Go to block everything right now.
Coast to coast for Joyce. Now she'll kick it out. A coat. No good on the mid-range. Good. Blocks out a box out there by Rose. Allows Moore to grab it uncontested.
Let's see if Hines can get something going. Played with those 2 personal fouls. Played less than 8 minutes. That's been her scouting report in her time at Wake Forest. She's prone to fouls.
They are back to their starting unit. They were down a couple of starters with foul problems. And there is Taylor Johnson Matthews knocking it down. She's got 6.
And ready to shoot behind the screen. She made 52 threes last year.
8 Tigers have played today, Debbie. 7 of them have scored. Everybody getting involved, and that is now Hines picking up her 3rd foul. Looks like Sean Poppy will let her stay and play.
They've got 5 threes by 5 different players, Clemson.
There's the advantage for South Carolina in the paint. A coat off the mark. Tessa Johnson pulls up mid-range, count it.
I mean, this is textbook off the bounce. This is beautiful elevation on a pull-up jumper. You gotta love it right here, Beth. Watch this. Just plays 2 bounces, 2 dribbles. That's all you need to create some space to get into the rhythm of your shot.
Fouls on Rachel Rose, her first. So Tessa to the free throw line, the junior from the Minneapolis area. Dawn Staley talked about the work that she put in the offseason. She said it's okay to be selfish in the offseason, working on your game, working on your skill set, working on your diet and conditioning. And she put in the time and really focused on her own development as a player and how she could benefit the team with it.
Yeah, that's a foul. Pushed off the spot. And you know what, Hines, for a player with size and strength, she really does a good job playing the leverage game. Watch how she works without the ball. She's keeping the seal. She gets off the contact. She gets back on the contact and just carves out some space to be able to receive that post entry.
Second foul on a coat. Bodies on the deck, and it's a 5-second count against Clemson. Here's Tania Latson, last year's national scoring leader while at Florida State. More Tessa, this time from deep, and it's the biggest lead of the night for Carolina.
You don't usually hear selfish used in a positive way, and that's the way Dawn Staley, to your point earlier. I mean, she can really stroke it. It is textbook, that jump shot, Tessa Johnson.
Part of that 24 national championship team, that huge game against Iowa. Now they force a turnover.
Palming or carrying the ball is a violation they're emphasizing this year. Look at Tessa get into the rhythm of her shot, gets her feet down quickly under her shoulders.
She had 19 against Grand Canyon in their season opener.
Real good shooters get their feet down like this. Ba-boom, ba-boom, real quick, right? That helps them get into the rhythm of their shot.
She's got 10, and looking for the assist to Edwards there. Coat with the big-time rebound. Edwards getting in there for another opportunity. Joyce Edwards now with 18, and it's an 8-0 South Carolina run. Does Clemson have a response? Oh, Gustanete, they missed the roller on the pick and roll. Hines working down low. Offensive rebound, and the putback is good.
She has to be a factor right now. They have to have some way to collapse the South Carolina defense so they're not so far up the line and overplaying. If you can establish something in the baseline in the paint, then it helps the quality of your catch on the perimeter. Because South Carolina has to help in the inside a little bit. They have to at least pinch somewhat.
Latson with the air ball. She thought she got fouled. Tonight with 8 points on 3 of 8 shooting so far tonight.
We talked to Dawn Staley about Tania Latson and why she came to South Carolina and her perspective about what she wants to do with her own game, plus what she wants to accomplish as a team. And they've been working on her decision-making and her passing.
Likely to be a high WNBA draft pick. Eyes on playing for a national championship first. Edwards now with 7 boards to go along with her 18 points. Raven Johnson looking for some help. Got to get out of the lane and not in time. 3-second violation.
Rachel Rose back in the game for Mia Moore.
Big night for Rachel as she makes her 100th career start. First at Wofford and now here at Clemson for the senior from Scranton, PA. Former Big South Freshman of the Year and SoCon Player of the Year. And the Tigers are going to work again.
Hines inside. And Rachel Rose only played 6 games last year. She had an injury. Played for Jimmy Garrity at Wofford.
She's been handling the ball pretty well so far tonight. Perryman. Hines as the Clemson bench counts down the shot clock. Russ off the mark. Latson with the rebound.
Gustanedes have some good luck. She's now 1 for 8 from the floor. She's a better shooter than that. It'll come around.
The coach steps away.
That's one of those shots when in doubt, shoot it.
Yep. Rose off the hesitation, scoops it underneath the coat, up and in.
Clemson battling right here. I mean, they're not going away.
6 unanswered for the Tigers.
Really slow developing here, and then the turnover.
One of the student managers at Clemson.
He's the son of Dan Margulis, who is in charge of programming, college basketball, and many other things, including putting this game together.
Getting us a lot of good matchups.
Yeah,
Got
we
a
like it.
women's doubleheader coming up on Sunday. Clemson, Louisville, and NC State, TCU. We'll see plenty of South Carolina throughout the season, including a primetime ABC game in February after the Super Bowl, mid-February, against LSU.
Well, up next for South Carolina is Southern Cal, who we just saw
that'll be a good
on
one.
Sunday.
They have tried a couple of times to shake Clemson, have not been able to do it. But up by as many as 18, but the Tigers have found ways to get back in it. Boy, if they could hit a 3 tonight, it would be really tight, but that has not been the case. South Carolina looking for its first points in over 4 minutes. Wise to get Joyce Edwards a touch. She steps through, but it won't go.
How about Raven Thompson holding her own inside? Pretty good defense right there.
Carolina has made just one of its last 9 shots, and the run now for Clemson is 8-0. And that's going to be a foul on McKeer trying to run through the screen.
Back-to-back plays by the senior Raven Thompson. Here she is right here playing good D, one-on-one. South Carolina clears it out for Edwards to go one-on-one, and Raven Thompson just stands her up and then rebounds.
They can get this thing back into single digits. Oh, and now they're going to call Hines for the illegal screen, and that's her 4th. With 2:10 still to go in the 3rd quarter, I think they're going to have to get her out now as they reach for Raven Thompson on the bench, and Hines will depart. Boy, that's a tough way to pick up number 4.
Yeah, Hines with 7 rebounds. Clemson has only turned the ball over 8 times, and their backcourt has handled the pressure of the South Carolina perimeter.
Let's see if Carolina can break through for the first bucket in 5 minutes. Nope. Another chance to cut the deficit.
Go a little boomerang pass action right into the switch. See, that's a shot that she's got to shoot. She's got to be ready to shoot it.
Wasn't ready for that one. Off the mark. McKeer.
Boy, McKeer is long and athletic, isn't she?
Edwards mid-range. Wow, the drought now 5.5 minutes. They've missed their last 8 shots. They're trying to get Tania Latson back on the floor.
Clemson's on an 8-0 run.
But they haven't scored in over 2 minutes. See if they can break through here, and it won't go. They have had 3 chances now, I think, Debbie, to get this thing into single digits. Here comes another one.
It is a high possession game, but South Carolina is shooting 40% and Clemson is shooting 33%. So neither team is shooting it very well.
10 on the shot clock. Rose off the bounce. Off the pass fake and the jab step. That won't drop. And the bottom of the net is lonely at both ends.
Raven Johnson slowing it down for the last possession.
6:40 without a bucket for South Carolina. Can they get one here to beat the buzzer? Edwards blocked. That'll...
It's been a great 30 years. Here's to 30 more.
Oh, God. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure about it. Yes. We've had a great run. It's been fun. We've watched the game up and down, change through adversity, and all the things that we do. And we know the backdoor entrance to every place in college basketball. Arenas and other places.
All right, we're looking for some shot makers right now because both sides are in a serious drought. Still a 10-point game. Clemson trying to cut it down, and finally McKeer able to hit a shot after a drought for South Carolina that lasted over 7 minutes.
You got to really double down on the scout right now if you're Clemson. I mean, you got to know who the shooters are. You got to close out the right distance. And let's see if Mia Moore can get something going.
They continue to play without Tamara Hines, who's sitting with 4 fouls. Moore, they've been relying a lot because of South Carolina's speed and size on that 3-point shot, and it is just not dropping. 5 for 26.
Well, you know you had to make threes when you came in here.
A coat gets to the other side of the rim. Able to tip it to herself as Dowda, and that one won't fall. A lot of their misses have been coming in the paint. Kick out for 3. And it's a one-and-done trip. Carolina plus 13 on the glass tonight.
Icing that ball screen right there. And South Carolina goes to their 2-man game. That's a lot of size. And they can play over the top of this Clemson defense. Icing ball screens means they're trying to keep it on the same side and send it to the baseline.
That foul's on the 6'5" Morgan Lee. And to the free throw line for Medina Okote, the 6'6" senior from Kenya who transferred in from Mississippi State. Already has a double-double, 13 points, 11 rebounds against Bowling Green. And rattles in that free throw. 5 points, 9 boards tonight.
She's got 1 year with Dawn Staley, the 6'6" senior. Last year led the SEC in field goal percentage at Mississippi State at 65%.
And just like that, the lead back up to 15. It's been as much as 18 tonight.
Little step-up screen.
Under 8 to go now. Agustaneda deep. Rebound to Cote.
I can't wait to break down some film with Sean Poppy and find out how many shots he felt from 3. They were uncontested and wide open.
And that's going to be another foul on Lee. So here comes Hines checking back into the game with Johnson Matthews. Hines will play with 4.
Sean Poppy in his 2nd year at Clemson. He was a SoCon Coach of the Year one of his years at UTC.
He's a former Maggie Dixon Rookie Coach of the Year. You Tech at one time.
And I'm telling you, Clemson, Virginia, and Miami will be the most improved teams in the middle of that ACC. Clemson's going to get somebody that you wouldn't think they should beat, and they're going to lose some that they probably shouldn't.
Agustaneda, no, and you can sense the frustration from Russ that the shots just aren't falling. She is 1 for 12 tonight. Meanwhile, Tessa Johnson will knock down a triple. She's got 13 to join Edwards in double figures. Just so many weapons on the perimeter.
Good job cutting off the baseline. These bigs for South Carolina can guard in that ball screen coverage on the perimeter with their length.
Shot clock's running down. And there it goes. Hey, this is definitely a Super Tuesday for ESPN Men's Hoops. Got a doubleheader coming your way tonight. We'll start with Kentucky and Louisville at 8 Eastern, and then Creighton Gonzaga. It's also available on the all-new ESPN app.
One of the best rivalries in all of college basketball. The Yum Center is going to be popping tonight.
Woo. And I believe Mark Pope was not called into jury duty, so he's good to go.
You don't want to miss that one.
Held ball's going to stay at this end.
Shades of Joe B. Hall and Denny Crum tonight. There'll be a lot of people talking about through the decades. What a great rivalry, Kentucky, Louisville.
The bourbon will be flowing.
On the bourbon side. The vodka side will have it going too.
Latson looking to get into double digits. And may have a shot at it here at the free throw line. She's got 8 tonight. Here's with Tenaya.
Very complimentary about the loyalty factor and what a tough choice it was for Tenaya, but she'd done everything that she needed to do at Florida State. As Oakcott scores in the bucket. You know, the SEC's got some better guards this year. You know, Tenaya Latson's one of them. I like Michaela Blakes at Vandy. How about Liv McGill at Florida? Rory Harmon. She doesn't get enough credit.
Is this the year for Texas? Yeah.
Flauget, Johnson, and Michaela Williams at LSU, just to name a few.
It's going to be fun to watch how that plays out. Of course, Oklahoma lost a non-conference last night to UCLA, but everybody anxious to see how their freshman Leah Chavez will do in the SEC this year. The number 3 rated recruit, just ahead of Agat McKeer for South Carolina. As Hines will get to the line for 2. Wrong time, and we're not able to chip away and get it into single digits. And now it could get up to 20.
I think Latson really trying to work on her passing that time. I think she should have scored it. She already beat her defender and got into the second level.
Latson muscles that up in it, and now she's got 10 to go along with 5 rebounds and 3 assists. And the lead has ballooned to 20.
But you know, here's what I appreciate about Tenaya Latson. She's not going to take 18, 20 shots a game anymore.
Nope.
But her efficiency is going to be better, and she's going to impact the game in other ways. And when you get to the WNBA next year, you don't get 18 or 20 shots.
No.
You might get 8 shots, and then if you're going to stay on the floor, you got to be able to do other things. She's going to be ready when she comes out of South Carolina for those other parts of the game. She had to do more at Florida State to score.
She wanted to improve on some of those things, her vision, her passing, her defense. South Carolina gets a steal. They'll head the other way with it. Filling the lane. Look at the bigs run on the floor. Dowda from Tessa. And they're cruising now. Got to kick it into gear quickly. Well, they always play a tough schedule, as you referenced earlier. They got Southern Cal this weekend out in Los Angeles. They've got a couple of top 25 matchups when they head to Las Vegas around Thanksgiving with Duke and possibly UCLA or Texas. And then don't forget the ACC-SEC Challenge coming up in early December.
History of the NCAA basketball tournament when Clemson was the first game in the history of the tournament against Penn State.
Over 3,000 points and 1,000 rebounds.
Think about all the greats in the history of the ACC, and she's still the all-time leading scorer without the three-point line. Jim Davis is smiling right now.
Coach.
If good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, he's got
there.
a big smile, and he'll be there.
Longtime head coach at Clemson. Many trips to the NCAA tournament, some ACC titles. They're trying to get back this year for the first time since 2019.
Oh, look at that. Split
the D and getting to the rim.
Late game off the bounce. Tania Latson in tremendous shape. So strong. Such a complete offensive player. They jump out to ice that ball screen, and she just splits the D. Too quick.
Latson with 10 points, 6 rebounds. How about this week's SEC Network featured women's hoops games? Reagan Beers in Oklahoma taking on Kansas City tomorrow at 9 Eastern. Belmont in Tennessee Thursday night at 7 Eastern. SEC Network action for you. Joyce Edwards has led the way tonight with 18. Latson and Tessa Johnson both in double digits. Medina Acote is a basket away from a double-double tonight. And they have pulled away here in this fourth quarter.
You know, they run that dribble drive, Clemson does very well, but we're not going to see many teams that have the shot blocking presence at the rim of South Carolina.
No.
South Carolina has rim protection and paint protection. In my mind, those are two different things, and they're very good at them.
Well, they have been much more well-rounded in this fourth quarter, and Dawn Staley looking a bit more pleased after that long drought in the third. It's so much fun to watch Dawn in action, to see what she has built here with the championships, with the SEC titles, with the attendance, and being such an ambassador for the game. I mean, you call her the CEO, right?
I think she's the CEO of a lot of things, certainly of South Carolina basketball, but look at this list we came up with today. CEO of young player development, advocating for assistant coaches and growing the game financially. And then this is your word.
Philanthropy. I love that. Yeah, nobody sells Philly better than her. And of course, always in fashion. Little Gucci with the, who's that? Is that Stephon Diggs?
I think so.
Yeah. She's the CEO of all of that and much, much more.
I think she's the CEO of the New York Times bestseller list, too, with her
she's
book.
An author, yeah.
You got it all working over there.
Incredible what has been built here at South Carolina. And of course, they will be in the mix in all likelihood again for a fourth national championship. After we watch the UConn Huskies raise their 12th banner at their home opener. They've started out quick at 2-0 with AZ Fudd already a couple of 20-point games. Sarah Strong in the paint.
They're already toying with people.
#1 again this week. Acote with a big block. Let's see if they get it back to her at this end. The lob inside, and there you go. There's your double-double for Medina. Ten points, 12 boards.
Clemson's going to have some good film, right? And like I said earlier, this is good prep for the next game, Louisville. Now, Louisville won't have the kind of size at the rim, but they'll certainly bring the competitive defensive effort. Yeah, you're going to have to execute.
They'll play American on Thursday, and then Louisville Sunday afternoon on ESPN2.
Oh, I didn't mean to dismiss American. I'm just thinking about conference play.
Yeah, they will jump into a league game. Oh, the whip pass from Edwards for the assist to Acote. The bigs showing off their skills. And Clemson has been held without a basket in this fourth quarter, just 2 points since the 3.5-minute mark of the third quarter, Debbie. The defense has just stuffed them for South Carolina. Gamecocks getting set to get to 3-0. It'll be the first loss of the season for Clemson. And Latson will add another block. That is 10 in the game for Carolina. And at least half of those have been on three-point attempts.
I mean, you got a pump fake, shot fake, ball fake, put it on the ground and go by them.
And if they can hold on here, Debbie, this will be the fewest points allowed in a quarter by South Carolina ever. Just 2. The fewest they've allowed in a game is 5. Rebound Latson, and that should do it.
A lot to take away for both teams. A lot to learn from. Really competitive first half.
4 in double figures for South Carolina, and they will outscore Clemson 20-2 in the fourth to seal the deal.